coming up on today's episode.
But then I had to go, okay, well, can I outsource this to somebody? How much is that going to cost me? Is that cost effective and so on? So I think that they have to look at their business as a whole and go, okay, what jobs am I really good at? What jobs am I not good at? And how much can I outsource and how much can I automate? And the more I can outsource and automate and focus on what I am good at, the better things will be.
Dodgy advice and bad decisions can cost you big in real estate. We're here to make sure that doesn't happen. Welcome to the No BS Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Jo Agresta, and it's time to take control of your property journey together. Welcome back, everyone, to the No BS Podcast Professional Edition. Now, in today's episode, we help industry professionals fix the people, the systems, the chaos that actually make or break their business. So if you're a buyer's agent and your pipeline feels unpredictable, if you rely heavily on referrals, if you're constantly prospecting instead of actually buying property, then this episode is for you. Today, we're unpacking why most lead generation models fail, what frameworks actually create predictable pipelines and growth, and whether the set and forget funnel dream is actually a reality or just internet hype. And joining me to unpack this beautiful topic is Guy Brown, the CEO and founder of My Real Estate Advisor. And he works with property professionals building structured lead ecosystems and partnership models instead of relying purely on cold outreach. So Guy, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jo. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so wrapped because we've been catching up for a while now since late last year. You've helped me on my side of the business with abodey. For those that know, I've got a prop tech business. And as soon as we started unpacking what you were doing, I was like, you know what, there's a lot of advocates out there that really need to have a discussion with you to see how they can actually streamline these services. So I'm so excited to get into the episode and unpack it.
Happy days. Yeah, for sure.
Happy days. I love it. Now, before we get into the frameworks and models, of course, we start every episode with our no BS statement of the day. This one today, it's something that's been floating around the industry that sounds true on the surface, I want to say, but we're going to pressure test it with you today, Guy, and then we'll come back at the end of the episode and see if it's true. So today's statement is, buyers agents just need to work harder and build their own brand. Leads will come. So we'll revisit and see if that's bullshit or not.
Yeah.
But like all good places to start, let's go back to the beginning, Guy. Give us the version of your background and how you ended up building, My Real Estate Advisor and the lead system in property.
Yeah, okay. Well, I started off in real estate when I first moved back over to Australia about almost 15 years ago now, I think it is. And I was working for the usual suspects as a real estate agent to start off with. So, like LJ Hooker or Ringling Horde, that kind of thing. And I'd done a couple of years, a few different companies like that. And I got to the point where I decided I wanted to get my full license, become a principal, set my own business up and all that kind of thing. And I didn't particularly fancy just buying into a franchise because I'd been to a few of them and they weren't that fantastic. They were all pretty much the same thing. So I thought, well, I'd like to set my own...
Your business. Your own business.
Yeah. And that's basically how it started. So I got like a good 20 years of sales and marketing experience from different parts of the world. And so I thought, well, I might as well just do it myself then, And that's how it started.
I love it. I think the best businesses always start from like that place of frustration with the current systems that exist. And you're right, franchises can be limiting because you're stuck to kind of like whatever their rules and their ways of purchasing, buying and marketing, it's all controlled. Yeah. So, and I guess because you've got that experience, you would have an abundance of understanding then of actually having to find your own leads and how difficult that would be for your real estate agents and even buyers agents.
Yeah, for sure. The main thing with most people is not having a database to start off with. So they don't know how to generate the leads. Most people, unless you've got like a degree in marketing and advertising or something in a previous life, you used to do that kind of job. If you're a regular person, just a salesperson or something like that, you don't know how to set different campaigns up on social media. You've never done it before. Nobody's really going to teach you. You might have to pay somebody to teach you to do it. And you're starting from nothing with no database or anything at all. So then I think the next thing is, can I get referrals, from somebody? And, that's hard if you've got nothing to give back as well.
It's so true, because when I look at, even myself, when I started out as an advocate initially, so I was a real estate agent, then went into advocacy.
Yeah.
Reflecting on that time, the hardest part of starting that business wasn't the operations, it wasn't the registrations and all the licensing, that was already there. It was, where am I going to get these leads? And when I was trying to create partnerships and referral systems, with contacts, I had like brokers, conveyancers. The issue I kept running into as a professional was a lot of them had already established relationships, like the ones that weren't new to the business had buyers advocates that were already doing referral systems, and it kind of made it hard for them to then build a relationship with me to then send me leads. So again, it was like a longer partnership that I had to kind of nurture until anything started to come back and forth. And when you're starting out in business, you can't afford to be 6 months, 9 months without a proper lead. And when you don't have all the startup funds in the world, setting up SEO and marketing paid ads and things like that sometimes feel unreachable. So what I like about what your approach is, it's starting off with a database. Where can you get these databases?
A lot of this is sort of ties in with AI. I mean, originally all our data came from inquiries. So when I first started the business, it was all working with developers. So I gradually built up more and more developers, and we'd advertise their stock online, and then we get a load of inbound leads all the time. And then as time's gone on, and technology's improved where you can use AI phone calls and all that sort of stuff. So instead of producing like a handful of leads, you need a database then to use an AI system to cold call 1,000 people and get, 30, 40 people that are interested in that particular service, whatever that service is. Doesn't matter what it is, because it'll be scripted for the thing that you're trying to sell, or the service you're trying to offer, or the product you're trying to offer. So I've kind of just adapted what we do based on the technology that's available. And it originally was all inbound leads. So when I started the company, I didn't want to do any old school stuff. So that I don't do door drops and letterbox drops, and door knocking and all that old school stuff. I don't do any of that. I've never done any of that. So my original thing was, well, I'll go out and get a contract with a builder, get their stock, advertise it, and I'll have inbound leads. And then if the person wants to sell their house or do something else, I've already built the relationship with them anyway. So I don't have to door knock anybody. I don't have to, do that kind of thing anymore. So that I love
that you've solved that problem though, because for a lot of agents, it's still the traditional way and the way that they find most effective to get their prospects.
Yeah, it's a tough one though, because the thing is, your prospect is probably somebody who's within a certain age range, and when you knock on their door, they're probably at work. So you're going to be speaking to a lot of pensioners, and they're not going out unless they're going out in a wooden box. They're not going to sell anytime soon. So you're looking for people between 30 and 45, maybe up to 50, that are thinking of selling or downsizing or buying an investment property or whatever. But they're not there when you knock on the door 9 to 5. If you turn up at night time, fair enough. But who the hell wants to turn up at night time? That person's been to work all day, and you roll up at the door and say, do you want to sell your house? No, wait, I want to have my dinner, thanks, bye. You don't really want it. So I find that it's, to have stuff inbound, you're not upsetting anybody. It's only, probably somebody's coming to you asking for help. Can you give me this house, or I want to sell my house, or whatever, So it's better to do that. And then also to pick the times when you call them that are going to be convenient. So it's things like that, basically.
It's so many factors, right? And I guess what kind of made you start looking into the buyer's advocacy side, where you were noticing some patterns? Like, what made you focus specifically on those guys in the end?
It was like a customer service process, because what was happening was, in the last 2.5 going on 3 years, the stock for house and land packages and even apartments has started to disappear very quickly. So the supply and the demand is just not there. So what happened was, we started to say, okay, look, if we can't sell the person a brand new property, let's see if we can sell them an existing property. Let's start connecting with buyers agents and put them into the mix and say, okay, sorry, Mr. Customer, I can't get you that property, but this buyer's agent's going to do some research for you now, and he or she is going to try and find you what you're looking for in that particular suburb, or as close to that as possible. And then you would explain what their job is. So you'd say, okay, well, look, if you've never used a buyer's agent before, Their job is to basically find you what you're looking for and then negotiate on your behalf to try and bring that price down and so on. So that's how we started to work with buyers agents.
Because talk to me a little bit about, my real estate advisor. So now, like, you host obviously stock and you still work with agents. How have you kind of shifted into this lead generation and database management kind of system that you help other professionals with?
What happened was I was approached by a mortgage broker years ago, and she said, well, these leads that you generate, I'm looking for more leads for finance. Can you send me some people? And I said, yeah, okay, no problem. And then that sort of led to building another website and then starting to service the finance side first. So the finance brokers and mortgage brokers would approach us because we would be like, well, a lot of these deals fall over if the finance isn't there. So if the finance isn't in place, we're knackered. We're not going to get a deal over the line. It's not going to happen.
Oh,
so
100%.
We would say, okay, lead comes in, one copy goes to the agent, one copy goes to the finance broker on the system. The agent knows who the finance broker is and the finance broker knows who the agent is. And these two talk to each other and they try and get a deal done between them. And that's basically how that started. And then it became,
awesome.
Now we need buyer's agents because the stock's gone.
Yeah, we need someone to buy it.
Now we need somebody to find something to sell to these people if the stock's all gone. And it can be like that. It can be literally the next day. It could be within half an hour. We can have a lead come in. Oh, I want to buy X, Y, and Z. And we contact the builder straight away. And they go, oh, sorry, mate. No, it's gone. It's like that. So, and then you've got that customer there and you go, well, what do you do with him? Well, it's still worth money to somebody. The finance person can still make money out of it. A buyer's agent can still make money out of it. So I was like, well, I don't want to waste the advertising and the marketing and the processing of getting that person onto the CRM system and everything else that I've done in the background, So let's, repurpose this human being to go to somebody else. Hopefully they can make some money out of them or, look after them. One way or another.
I think that's the genius of it, right? Like you said, and this is what we're going to go into now. We're going to talk a little bit why most of these existing lead generation models fail, and the difference in what you've built. Because I have a few opinions on this too. Like, trust me, I've been there, I've tried most of them. So that's why I was excited to unpack this for our professionals, right?
Okay.
Most BAs that I've observed online or through partnerships, it'll be paid ads on social media. It's cold calling, like you said. Networking events and trying to, do partnerships and referrals. But the results are rarely consistent. That's the issue. So they're kind of prone to this feast or famine cycle in advocacy, where you'll have a month where you've got so many inquiries and then all of a sudden it's dried up the next month or the next 2 months.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're like, crap, where's the next lead coming from?
Yeah.
Yes. What, in your opinion, are the main lead generation tools that you come across or lead paths that buyers agents and any wider real estate profession typically rely on?
Well, the old school stuff for the normal real estate agents, normal residential agents, is the door knocking and the flyer drops, and they've started to do more and more social media. One of the ones that I think's more successful is there's a lady in Sydney that does live posts when she gets a listing. She's like, oh, it's not on realestate.com or domain or anything. I'm going to go in there live. And she's got a following. And she goes into the property like, oh, it's number, whatever street. And she's dead excited. That works for her because she's got that following. So I think if you haven't got that following, you need to work on that. And if you're paying for advertising, the problem with social media advertising is you might spend $2,500 to get 100 leads, but the 100 leads are rubbish. It's not 100 leads of quality stuff. It's 100 leads of, maybe. Because you've got to remember the person clicking on the social media ad, their first reason for being on social media wasn't to buy a house or sell a house. Their reason for being there is, what's happening on the Facebook or, or what's happening on Instagram. So it's kind of an afterthought, which is quite a difficult one for you to then follow up then, because this wasn't their, intention. If they were on domain or realestate.com or something like that, they're in buying mode. That's what they're there for. But if they're on Facebook, they're on Facebook. So
it's so true. That psychology, I hadn't thought of it like that. It's ads when they're on socials. Not that they're a bad thing. They're good for presence and branding and, repetitive stuff. But in terms of, like you said, is it going to attract that quality lead where that person actually ends up buying a house through you? It could, but you have no way of guaranteeing those results. You're kind of gambling with that spend.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's a lot of these media agencies out there and stuff that they say, oh, well, we'll build you a campaign, we'll do this, that, and all the rest of it, which is all wonderful. But at the same time, if the person on the other side is not a particularly very good salesperson, it doesn't matter how many leads you throw at them, they're not going to get a deal done. So you have to have leads where the client wants you and needs you. Then it doesn't matter if you're very good at closing a deal or not, because the person needs you anyway. So that makes it
true.
Because typically finance brokers aren't very good at selling stuff.
They're good at the numbers.
But not good with personalized stuff, like and that's fine. And I sort of say to them, well, you're probably better off to have the middleman person that actually books you an appointment, and then when you have the appointment, it's all finance. There's no niceties or trying to talk them into anything. It's just finance. And that's it.
And I guess, in your opinion and experience, which of the lead generation models that you've seen most of the time fail or don't really work, and why?
I'd probably say Facebook ads if they're not done the right way, because flyers, eventually it'll work, but it'll cost you a lot of money, and a lot of time and energy. Like, are you actually gonna deliver all these flyers to thousands of people? Are you going to pay a company to do it? How much is it going to cost to print all this stuff? So that old school way of doing that, I think that is a bit of a waste of money. And the advertising on things like social media, like Facebook, have you got a really clever, fun advert? Has it been done the right way? And is it effective? Or is it just a generic, boring thing, and you're not really going to get your value for money out of that one? It's not going to work as well. So I like things like where you make an AI video and, somebody with the head of a wasp or something trying to sell you something weird that catches people's eyes. You have to be weird now to stand out. If you're dressed like I am and you come on, nobody cares. But if I had a robot face, people are, oh, what's that? So you've got to kind of grab people's attention. So if you're not very good at that and you're not that kind of creative person, you're just a salesperson and you just want leads, that might be a waste of money for you, and you might be worth engaging with a company that does that kind of work to make it more professional.
And I think there's a few elements to this, right? Like, when I think about it, social ads can be effective if you know what you're doing on the digital side, like setting the right audience, the right targets, the right aim and goal, like the call to actions. There's a lot of elements to digital marketing, and it can fail fast if you've poured all your money into the wrong thing. Then on the second path is maybe you've got all that right, but like you said, the content that you're promoting is not resonating or grabbing the attention of that audience. And a lot of the time, and I wholeheartedly agree with you, the content creation side, you've got to be different. That's something I think every business struggles with, is that kind of internal embarrassment of, I don't want to put a robot head on and say, I do X, Y, Z. I just want my face there and I just want to talk. But the problem with that is a lot of people will see it and kind of go, nah, another property person, and move on. You need to kind of stop them in their tracks. And what's the best way to stop them if this is the pathway you're going to choose, right?
Well, there was an agent that I know from Cleveland, and he walked into a swimming pool with a full suit on one of his videos. That got a lot of attention. He probably didn't want to do it. He probably was like, no, this is a bit stupid. But to be fair, he would have got the property sold straight away, and he would have got a lot of attention just because he did something as stupid as that. So it does work, but it's whether or not you want to do that.
And it kept me intimidating coming from me, who I have a marketing manager who makes me do push-ups in videos, star charms, screaming, crying. I'm a full-on actress.
Really, there's no real need for that. They're just trying to get you to lose some weight,
Yeah, I think so. She's trying to motivate me. But I have to trust her crazy ideas, because for some reason they work. They do grab attention. They do get me a phone call. They do get me a DM, and I'm like, I would never in a million years, if I was running this business by myself again, would I have put out this video. I would have done what everyone else thinks to do.
Exactly.
I'm going to put the camera in front of me and I'm going to talk at you for 2 minutes. And sometimes that can be effective depending on your tone of voice, how you speak and what you say, right? So that's a type of lead generation that I think can fail fast, and can be costly as well. And it's not really giving you those quality leads. You're kind of just sticking your finger in the air and praying that one or two of those people out of the 1,000 you've cast the net to happen to be genuine.
And yeah, you're right. Like if you're a bit more introverted as a person and you're not very outgoing, then and you might have the wrong tone of voice, or you might come across a bit dull or something like that. I mean, if people listen to me talking with my tone of voice, they can go to sleep. You know what I mean? Like, it's very calm, quiet, relaxing tone of voice. So I'd probably struggle to do. I probably would have to have a robot face to make an impact.
I doubt that. But I think,
I don't know.
One thing I wanted to ask was, like, in your opinion, what do you think the difference is between someone being like busy in this space, like an advocate being really busy all the time and getting a lot of attention, versus building leverage in lead generation? Because I feel like the two are different things. It's like you could be flat out calling 100 leads. That's just being busy. But building leverage in those leads, what's your kind of tip on that?
I think that for a buyer's agent, they have to stand out compared to other buyer's agents, and the same goes for the finance and the real estate agents. I think that they have to have a point of difference. So it would maybe be, are they competitive with their prices? Is their service at another level? Have they got testimonials? Have they got proof of what they've done in the past and things like that? So, and I think the other thing is this attention to detail, is spending more time with each person. If you're cold calling like 100 people, you haven't really got the time to have an in-depth conversation with them and find out exactly what they want to do. Right? Okay, so they might be like, oh, I'm a first-time buyer, I'm trying to buy something. Okay, well, you're not really my market buy. Bang, next call. So I think it's better to build longer relationships with people. See, I cold call into businesses. So like, if I try to do 50 calls a day, it's not going to happen. Because I'll get some old guy on there who's, oh, yeah, I've been in real estate for 20 years, mate, and do all the door knocking, and he starts telling me his life story, and then I can't get off the phone, and I'm empathizing with him, going, oh yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Yeah. Have you tried this? And then we'll go off at a tangent. But I will probably end up doing business with that guy, one way or another, because we built that rapport. We've had a nice long chat. He might refer somebody to me that I can work with if I can't work with him. So I think the person might be busy, but not making any money. So there's a difference between being busy, and not making any money. Being calm, cool, and collective, and having, strategic meetings with people and taking your time to get to know them, and maybe getting more business that way. Because there's a lot. It's being busy doing nothing, really.
Well, that's the thing. It's like you can sit there and go, I'm going to do 50 calls a day until I get a lead. And that's what you set out to do, right? You call all the partners, you call all those businesses, like you said, to try and gain a partnership. Where, you might find that pays off is maybe today they don't want to partner with you. Like I said, in my case, it was sometimes 6-9 months later, that person was like, hey, Joe, actually, I have someone for you now, because we've built that relationship over a 6 to 9 month period. So yes, like it didn't pay off today, but it's paid off 6-9 months later. And it's about building that leverage and pulling those strings when you need to. And I think one of the things I want to kind of go into is, now let's talk about the framework, right? That actually works in these cases. So if traditional approaches create, I guess, activity but not predictability, which is the issue, what actually works? So if you had to outline a simple framework for predictable pipeline, what would that look like?
Well, it's basically based on the numbers. So when I take a normal person that's got nothing, so like, it'd be a buyer's agent or whoever, if they've got no database, first of all, you get them a database. So I'll get each person a database of 10,000 people. And then we go, okay, let's aim to do 1,000 AI phone calls every month. And then out of that 1,000 calls, how many people do we think are actually probably going to be interested in what it is that you're offering? Out of all that, then we set up a call center to book appointments for them or something like that. And typically, if you go off a 3% conversion rate, that's probably what's going to happen. So the machine did 1,000 calls. There was 100 people, let's say there was 100 people interested. The call center called back the 100 people. 30 people said, yes, I'll have a meeting or appointment or whatever. out of the 30 people, maybe the agent converts 1 in 10, so they end up with 3 clients. 3 clients is worth between, let's say, 5 grand and 20 grand each. So best case scenario, they make $60,000 a month of 3 clients. But to get to those 3 clients, they've had to go through all the layers of BS to get there, and that's a real number.
Yeah,
it's a bit like if you go to the casino, the house always wins, and it always wins at least 3% of the time. Doesn't matter what the game is. So yeah, so that you have to look at it like that. Is literally a numbers game. So yeah.
And I think what you've said is really interesting there with how you've set up, your program with the AI calls in the database. So essentially, similar to what happened with me, I came to you and said, look, Guy, I'm looking to do X, Y, Z. These are the people I want to attract. What can you do to help? You said, yep, I actually have that database. Here it is. And then we set up the AI phone calls. Yep. Those calls are going through basically qualifying and removing anyone that's not interested. And then that refined list is someone, like a list I can actually action myself, and I've found some really good success with that through you. Yep. In terms of the difference of what I've tried in the past, like I tried Bark. I don't know if you've heard of Bark as a lead gen system.
No, not the composer.
Bark's interesting. So
I thought he was
Bark's
dead,
interesting, right?
Yeah.
I'll keep going, right? So Bark's like it's like an air tasker for businesses. So you can post an ad and say, I'm looking for basically a real estate agent or a buyer's agent or a mortgage broker, and this is my budget. You answer some maybe 5 or 6 questions, and the ad goes out. Now, you as the person who posted the ad is about to get flooded with about 100 calls in the next 5 minutes of all the people saying, I can help, I can help. But the way it works for a professional where it's high risk is I pay $450 for, let's say, 200 credits. Each lead is worth maybe 20 up to 40 credits to contact them. So if I want to spend and risk my credits on an ad that I've seen to reveal the phone number and the contact person so I can call them and sell my services, I can use those credits. Now, here's the issue. I do that, and I've picked the profiles that I think people are going to answer. And what I found is out of the $450 I spent in credits, I had 1 person actually respond and pick up the phone and say, hey, I could do some work with you. So where I kind of find that a little bit broken is how sustainable is paying $450 for credits and praying to God that this person's legitimate.
Did it turn into a client or not?
No, it didn't in the end. So they had issues with their finance. They couldn't get funding. I connected them with my contacts and brokers. She had to wait another 12 months before she could move. And then her circumstances changed and she couldn't purchase.
Well, you've got to go with cost per lead plus your time and everything else. Like, how much does it cost to generate that lead? And if it's $450 a lead, that's not sustainable. It says 10 leads is $4.5 grand.
Yeah.
You're going to spend $4.5 grand a month on 10 leads. I mean, unless they're like triple qualified leads, somebody's called it, somebody else has called it, the Pope's called it to confirm, Jesus is on the line. Just transfer your call now. Like, I don't believe in that. I think it is literally a numbers game. And, I've set up a training course, right, for buyers agents and real estate agents, right? Now I want to sell that course. Now all I need to know is how much does it cost to sell one course? Now, do you think I can get that answer out of a marketing company? Do you think they'll give me that answer? No. Well, is it $50? Is it $10? Is it $2? What is it? It could be anything. Great. Well, it's not cost effective then. So I think you need to, whoever's doing whatever kind of marketing or advertising or lead generation, you have to go down the layers and go, okay, well, if I pay $450 for a lead, I've got to make a minimum of $2,000 off that sale, whatever it is. Right? I've got a minimum that I've got to pay. Because otherwise, if I'm making $50, charge $500, that's cost me $450, isn't really worth it, is it? It's not cost effective at all. So you have to go, well, like when, for example, somebody buys a database, you can spend thousands of dollars on a database and have it all super duper if you want to, or you can go, okay, well, let's try the cheap and cheerful one and get the AI to plow through it. I don't care what the person does. It's up to them. I make a suggestion to where they can get the data from. But if they want to go on the internet and shop around and try and get something that they think is better quality, they can do that as well. But ultimately, it comes down to cost per lead and how much can you afford to spend on that. Like realistically, if you're not making 20 grand a deal or 30 grand a deal or something, $450 is outrageous.
Correct. And this is the thing, right? This is why I wanted to do this episode, because I think a lot of advocates and I was in the same boat. This is how I started out. It's trying to form those relationships, trying to find that first lead, and using in my family and friends going to, someone that's looking to buy that would hire a buyer's agent. You exhaust all your avenues. Whereas what I like with what you've built with my real estate advisor is the fact that you're generating the leads that are specifically targeting real estate. That's the key difference, right?
Yeah.
And all these other lead generation platforms, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying that, they've got their own purpose and maybe a niche. But when it comes to lead generation, I find you've got to find the right business or company that specializes in that field. So the fact that you've already created those leads through, like you said, you've got developer relationships, they have stock, they have clients, they need, you're generating that traction, and then you've got that database ready for someone who needs assistance, and you might go, you know what, I actually have 5 or 6 buyers agents, this person who's based in the same location is going to have success with this client. Let me do that introduction.
Yeah, and the other thing, as I say, with what I do is I also, if it's somebody's just starting out, I try and help them as much as I possibly can. Yeah. I've given people databases for free, and I've set them up on the system for no charge to kick off with until they get a deal done or something like that. So I've done things like that, and then I've also had people where they've come on the system and they've recommended people to me that they said good quality people to work with. So I'm like, well, I'll set you up on the system free of charge because you've recommended 2 or 3 people to me, and I know they're going to be good because you recommended them. So I think you've got to build relationships with people as well.
100%.
With you, these media companies, marketing companies, basically it's just, how do we get $2.5 grand out of you every month? And then if that...
I can tell you stories about marketing companies that'd make your head spin.
They don't really care. They've got the $2.5 grand out of you now, and you weren't happy. Oh well, never mind. Well, maybe next month it'll work. And you're $5 grand down.
I'm actually going to be really candid because I think this will help the listeners of this episode. I spent $22,000 on a marketing campaign. This is 2 years ago to launch our mobile app. So B2C was the target audience.
Yeah.
And I employed a marketing company who sounded good. All their metrics sounded great. They understood the digital marketing aspect. And back then I had no marketer. It was just me and my co-founder doing the business together. And we were just trying things out. So we had some money and we thought, okay, let's spend it on this digital marketing company and see what happens. So they sold us really well. They made it really attractive, and they were good and they were nice people. But the problem was when we started to get to the nitty gritty of my business and our business, of what do we do, who do we sell to, who are we trying to attract, what's the purpose, there was a massive disconnect in how we created the content. So part of their service was videography. That was 10 grand. Videography and content creation, all for a 4-minute video. Right, about the business. When they created that video, I was really unhappy because I was very specific that I didn't want a corporate video. I did not want me sitting down at a desk looking like I work in this high-rise building, an apartment, selling real estate. It's like, well, that's not the vibe.
Is that what it was? You just wanted to do press-ups and you didn't want to be too serious, and they made you look super cool.
Yeah, I wanted it to be... Yeah, exactly. It's like I wanted to have the robot head, like let's grab their attention. And
they made it super corporate, did they?
They made it very corporate, and it was a nice quality video. We got some great footage out of it, but in terms of the actual video they put together, they totally misunderstood the business. They totally misunderstood the point. And what I found was I was doing a lot of the work to tell them, what do we do? I had to put together basically the strategy, because they didn't understand the mechanics of real estate. And I thought, for $20,000, surely you would be asking me these questions and sitting me down and saying, what do you want to achieve? How do you want to do it? Let's go for it. This is how it works. So for me, that $20,000, I think in the campaign for digital marketing, we generated about 10,000 impressions on social media ads, and we had 8 ads out at a time. So the ads itself cost us for a month about $8,500 to run.
And 10,000 people saw the ad, as far as you
Yeah,
know.
about 10,000 people were the impressions. In terms of clicks, God, the rate was like 3%. And I remember that the campaign manager at the time said, I'm really concerned with these numbers. And I said, that is not on me. There's something wrong with the content, in my opinion. I don't like the way it was filmed. It's not attracting the right people. That's the first problem. The second problem is, who's your audience? Who are you attacking in this digital marketing campaign? I said, it's obviously a miss. And this is the issue I found with big digital marketing companies who work to churn you out, charge you $8,500 a month, make you stay there, and you walk away with a really good brand presence. You know, everyone knows who you are, but people aren't working with you.
Yeah. How long ago was this then? Was this a couple of years ago?
This was 2 years ago. So this is when we first started building the mobile app.
You wouldn't have to do any of that stuff now. Like,
No.
you go in an AI video generation thing and just put in the prompt and it'll just make whatever you want and it'll use your face to make it as well.
Yeah, if you're not comfortable with that.
Yeah. And that'll probably get more attention anyway. But yeah, so out of the 10,000 people, how many people bought something off you?
So in terms of, because we were chasing app downloads at the time, so we wanted people to download our mobile app. We probably got, I think it was 110 downloads over a 3-month period.
110.
Yeah.
What would that be worth to you? Nothing or something or not?
Zero.
Nothing.
Not one person purchased a subscription. They were all free downloaders. And then this is where I was like, this has not even paid off, you know, at all. No. There's no return. We had to really unpack the issues. What it came down to was they don't pay for realestate.com, so they don't want to pay for anything else. Even if it's better, more convenient, it is a better experience, because we were selling to B2C back then.
Yeah, I see.
That was a hard competitive edge to have. So then we changed the model to a free model. And we were getting downloads, but then the strategy was not to go through the digital marketing company. It was then to start partnering with professionals and saying, offer this service as an add-on to your customers who are buying a house. So we had mortgage broker professionals who then say, hey, download this. We're partnered with them. They get a login and they get a great experience. And that's built our traction and our download list. Yeah. But in terms of us being able to generate our own leads, that's really done through the podcast, to be honest, because people tune into the podcast, they see an app, and then they download the app, they talk to our professionals, and it's a great kind of ecosystem that we've set up. But it's not been with the purpose of marketing to them, if that makes sense. It's more like an
afterthought. It's like, I enjoyed the podcast and let's have a look at this app. And so on and so on. Then anyway, yeah. No, that makes sense. Well, I think you, with what you're doing with that, is I would probably do more B2B with that and get those businesses to promote it for you and so on. But I mean, something like that, I think it's, if you're trying to get it out to the wider public, you'd be better off with a TV ad or something like that, maybe, or just some ad on YouTube or something. I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I think recommendations go a long way. If a mortgage broker recommends, this app helps you, we recommend you use this, people just go, all right, then I'll do that then.
And that was an example, because like, if I had to adopt the same thinking for buyers agents who hire these marketing agencies, they've got to understand the business so well that they have the same kind of pride in getting you a result. And that's why I wanted to bring up that example of, I spent all that money and they still didn't get me. They were too big of a business to care about me.
That's the thing. I mean, like that training course thing that I've set up, I've had a meeting with a chap yesterday, and all he wants to do is sell me building another website. I'm like, I've already got a website. He can't see past. He can't see past that point. I'm sort of saying, well, no, mate, what we should do is we should partner together, and I will send you lots of people, and you can build lots of websites, you know. Instead of building one for me, you could build hundreds of websites for real estate agents and whoever else, you know, finance people. Like, he's not seeing the big picture. He's just trying to make some money out of me now. And I think that's what the media, like the marketing companies tend to do, is they tend to be, well, how much money can we get out of Joe now? And we don't know anything about what she's doing, but we need money now, you know. And there's no, like, sort of, they don't really care what you're doing. Like, they're a buyer's agent. Whatever, love. Who cares? Yeah, that'll be $8,000. You know, standard thing. It is what it is. Leave it. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, that's a shame. Well, we've got our 8 grand, so bye. That's kind of the attitude. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think you're better off with more personal, business to business stuff and networking with the right people and all that kind of thing.
And I find with real estate, you've got to work with businesses or, people like anyone that understands the niche. When people don't understand real estate, I find that they just don't get the business model. They don't get how to sell it. They don't understand how to attract it. You could be the best marketer in the world, but if you've got no real estate knowledge on this subject, on how to sell to either buyers or professionals, that's going to fall over because people don't understand it the way someone like yourself or even myself or any of our listeners actually tuning into this episode are going to understand real estate. You know the business best. You know what the pain points are. Your job wouldn't exist without it, so it's marketing that correctly.
Yeah.
And in terms of, I guess, like in your opinion, what assets should every advocate build if they want to have that consistent growth? We've talked about a framework of having those qualified leads and having some sort of system that follows them up as a numbers game. But what are some of the assets that you would recommend?
I'd probably say, as we mentioned before, the database, they need a database, they need ongoing lead generation, and they also need automation, and they probably do need something like a VA. So once they've sort of got a good website set up, they've got that database, they've got marketing that's automated, so there's an email that goes out once a month or something, or a newsletter or a video or something like that. They've got a VA in the background that's maybe jumping on LinkedIn on their behalf and connecting with lots of different people. They need a structure and a framework in the background. Some of it's automated, some of it you outsource to somebody overseas to sit down and do some jobs for you that are time consuming, that don't make you any money. They have to be done, but they don't make you any money. Like, I've got VAs that upload properties for me. Now, when I first started the business, I was uploading properties myself. I was sitting there going, 2,000 of these, this is great, I love this every day, it takes me 5 minutes to do one, I'm going to be here all day, 50 to go, Now, at some point, I went, this is horrible. I don't want to do this. It's a necessary evil. I have to do it. If I don't do it, I'm not going to generate any income because nobody's going to see anything, and I'm not going to sell any houses, and it's going to be bad. But then I had to go, okay, well, can I outsource this to somebody? How much is that going to cost me? Is that cost effective, and so on? So I think that they have to look at their business as a whole and go, okay, what jobs am I really good at? What jobs am I not good at? And how much can I outsource and how much can I automate? And the more I can outsource and automate and focus on what I am good at, the better things will be. I will be way more successful if I'm not the one that does the adverts or something or whatever. And I'm just having appointments with people and trying to find them what they're looking for and negotiating on that. So you've got
to set up like all those roles. Like you have to set up the framework, but then you start to kind of put people into those positions as the business grows to make it all work functionally.
And you might be able to only afford the VA 1 day a week to start off with or something like that. You might say, well, he or she's on $50 a day or $100 a day, whatever it is. Well, I can only afford them for 1 day because this is a brand new company or something. Well, I'll just have them for 1 day to start off with until I can afford them to do more. And the automation stuff is, do I figure out how to do that myself, or do I go to another company and ask them for help and pay the price for setting up that automation? You know what I mean? But if I haven't got the automation, what will happen if I don't have it? Well, chances are you're not going to get that 3% that I told you about before. You might get 1% instead of 3%. So is it worth setting the automation up? Yes, it is. So is it something I'm not interested in doing it? Well, tough, you're going to have to do it. So it's just things like that. And I think that there's a lot of new buyers agents coming into the industry and everything, and they've not got that real estate background. They might have just done the course and they've become a buyer's agent. That's okay, but you've still got to get the basics right with how your business runs. It's got to run smoothly, and you've got to have a base to start from. Anything you're not good at, then I would say either automate or outsource.
I love that. And automation is a big thing, right? Because I can say firsthand, I would manually follow up, like in the first year, 2 years of my business, or first year I'll say, right? It was me trying to follow up. But when you're a business owner, you're doing everything. And usually as an advocate, you're the operations, you're the finance person, you're
Yeah.
running it all yourself.
Yeah.
So
You,
when you
yeah.
then throw in having to generate leads and then nurture the leads, that lead nurturing portion is where I fell over the most. I would have a really good sales call. I would have a really good introduction. It would come time to follow them up and I'd get busy or I'd get distracted and I'd go, shit, I still have to call that person. It's been 3 weeks. I call that person after a month and go, hey, how are you going? And they're like, oh yeah, we signed up with an advocate anyway. And I'm like, this was so simple. If there was automation touching base with this person, following that phone call and keeping them, informed or having my name in their inbox or in their text messages, they probably would have contacted me and said, hey, Joe, look, I've got your messages. Yeah, can we do business? And maybe they would have beaten me to the punch.
Yeah. Well, if you'd have had a VA, for example, and you said, oh, well, great talking to you. Here's my VA's contact details. He or she's going to be in contact with you. If you've got any questions, please direct them to them and we'll set up another time for a meeting. Then the VA could have taken over for you. And it didn't matter what you went off and did. The VA would have brought it back to your attention. Mr. Smith needs to talk to you, Joe, blah, blah, blah. You spoke to him 3 weeks ago. He's ready to do the thing now. But he's gone in your mind. I suppose unless you're putting him into the calendar and following up with him on a certain date and you've got a CRM system with it, reminders popping up, that would be good. But not everybody's got all these things to start off with.
That's right. And I think a basic CRM is always, I feel like, a fundamental because a lot of you may not know, but that's where your automation happens. That's like the super connector of your emails, your socials, and that's how you can start to automate, even a simple message after someone sends you a direct DM on Instagram, or maybe they subscribe to your newsletter from your website. You want to send them something straight away. That's just a basic automation step.
Exactly. Like we've got a CRM system which is pretty basic. It isn't all like bells and whistles and everything. But the person, once they're working with us, they've got access to that database and they've got stuff coming in all the time, but they can also export the data into another CRM system that maybe does, or MailChimp or something like that. And they can send out as many emails as they want or whatever. But you need to have some kind of CRM system or something to keep track of what you're doing. And if you haven't got that, you're going to really struggle, because nobody wants to sit an Excel spreadsheet and you just highlighted it. That's what I used to do old school. It'd be
same.
Red, interested, green, yes, that's going ahead, yellow, maybe. And I used to color code Excel spreadsheet and you'd have a huge Excel spreadsheet and things like that with all the different colors and stuff, like traffic lights. And I'm going through, how good am I? Look how green this is. This is amazing. I'm killing it. So if you've got to read it.
I dare say there's a lot of people listening to this episode right now going, that's me. And we've all started there. We've all had to start somewhere. And
something
that's
typically like that,
it's typically your basic starting point. But you've got to, we're trying to give you with this episode like the shift into, well, how do these BAs and these other property professionals have a funnel that you always see them going far out? They seem to always have business, these guys. They seem so flat out with business that they've had to hire another buyer's agent. They've had to hire a marketing person. This is these kind of like fundamentals you have to get right from the start to then build from it, because you just need traction. Sure. That's the biggest goal. And this kind of perfectly weaves into the Reddit Real Talk segment that I do, because I want to unpack a story with you here, Guy, and get your take.
Okay, go gold.
Let's go. So this is Reddit Real Talk. Now, I found something interesting on the Oz Property Chat, and I want to read it out and unpack it. And it's titled, The Lead Generation System Top Buyers Agents Are Using. 15 to 25 appointments monthly. Sounds like a dream so far. Let's read out what they're offering. Okay. And he says, searching the buyer's agent niche in Australia, and I noticed something interesting that almost all top agents are doing right now. They're using a very old principle combined with psychology to consistently attract high net worth investors without cold calling or chasing referrals. Here's the big idea. They start by giving free high-value resources that speak directly to investor pain points. Then they guide prospects through a simple marketing funnel, building trust before asking for anything. The third point is they This approach positions them as authorities, so by the time they get on the call, the lead is warm and ready to engage. Some agents are spending $500 to $700 per week to run this system, and it's booking them 15 to 25 appointments every month, completely on autopilot. I've broken down the entire strategy, including the funnel steps and examples in a document I created for my notes. If you'd like me to share it, just type yes below and I'll send it over. It might be helpful to you. And someone then wrote back to that thread and said no.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's answered the question for him then. Yeah, okay.
So
go on,
I guess, is this real or is this just internet hype and another kind of package system of I can guarantee 15 to 20 leads?
It's another sales funnel, basically. It's just another sales funnel. It's sort of like, do you hate cold calling? Well, guess what? You don't have to. It's that kind of thing. The reality of business is that you will have to cold call, you will have to do appointments, and you will have to do things that you don't want to do. You can offer whatever you want for free to anybody, but because you're offering it for free, they won't see the value in the thing that you're offering. So there's got to be something. Why are you giving me this for free? What's the catch? Do you see what I mean? So yeah, you could get your 25 appointments, but then the person's like, well, I didn't want that. It was free. So I clicked on it. What do you mean you want money for something? What? So you're kind of misleading the person into, it's a bit like if you said that your app was free and they went, no, it's not really though, So you know what I mean? So you've got to sort of have this version's free, but this other version that does all the bells and whistles is not free, but it's a reasonable price. And this is the reason why you're paying for it. I suppose you could look at it like that. But yeah, I think what that advert is literally telling you exactly what you want to hear. You don't have to make any cold calls anymore. That's what it's telling you. Oh, I don't. Oh, I just click here, do I? Oh, I don't have to ever do that ever again. Oh, that sounds amazing. Take my money. But is that real? No.
No, this is why it was the perfect question to ask you, because these ads, I think for a lot of us come up all the time. Marketing blueprint, sales funnel blueprint, download it for free. Then you get a phone call saying, oh, if you want to do the course, it's $20,000 and I'll teach you everything that I know. And some people, unfortunately, get kind of roped into these things. And whether it's successful or not, we don't know. You're kind of just trusting whatever they've marketed to you. And that's the troubling part. And where I want this episode to really stand out is partnering or teaming up or working with someone like yourself, Guy, is someone who's been in the real estate space. They are generating their own leads. The leads are qualified. You're not getting another random set of people to talk to. It's like there's a method to the madness.
Yeah. And the person's got to be realistic with what their skill set is and what they're expecting. If you've got a database and you're automating something that's similar to that out, what am I going to have to do to get the business out of it? I can't solely rely on other people to do absolutely everything for me. It's got to come a point where I'm the one that has to close a deal. And if I'm not very good at that, then I need to work on that skill. You know what I mean? So I think that's the thing. All well and good, people saying, oh, well, just pay me $8,000 or $4,000 or 2.5 or whatever it is, and I'll solve all your problems. Ultimately, if you haven't got the $8,000 or the $2,000 or whatever it is, you can't afford to do it anyway. You're going to have to do it yourself. If you have got the money, what I would say to you, a fool and their money is soon parted. Like if you're not careful with your money, it'll disappear very quickly. So you've got to be sort of, you've got to scrutinize it a little bit more and go, well, what is this? Is this actually going to work? Or is this going to be a massive waste of money, time and energy and everything else? So I don't think there's any free rides. And I think that you've got to partner with the right people, and there's got to be a legitimate lead where the person is actually interested in some sort of real estate thing, one way or another. They're either selling or buying or doing something, and they've got to be in that mode. Otherwise, it's a massive waste of time.
I couldn't agree more. God, thank you for unpacking that with us. And we're coming to the end of our episode, and I still have more questions, so we might have to bring you back for a masterclass.
Okay.
I think before we close out, if someone listening, wants more predictable revenue, let's say in the next 6 to 12 months, what's the first strategic move that they should make?
I think that they need to partner with the right person. So I think if you're in real estate itself, you need to work with somebody who's in finance. I would say that would be one of the main things that I would do. And then you have to work out a system and try and delegate as much as you can, either, as we said before, automation or outsource to somebody overseas to help you, because you can't do everything. So good connection with a good somebody in finance that's going to refer work to you, and you can refer work back to them, and then outsourcing to people overseas that can help speed up the process for you of what your day-to-day job is. So that would be what I would say.
Great advice and great tips. And Guy, thank you again for being on the show today. It's been so valuable.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Now, today we've unpacked why most lead generation models fail, the difference between activity and leverage, and I guess what a predictable pipeline framework actually looks like, and whether the internet's promise of autopilot appointments is real or just hype. So we need to kind of bring it back now to the no BS statement. The statement at the start of the episode was, is it really just about working harder and building your own brand, or is it about building smarter systems and partnerships? Would you say that's bullshit or not bullshit, that they just need to work harder?
No, it's the equivalent of saying to somebody, you just need to knock on more doors, same thing. Just knock on more doors. Just make more cold calls. Oh, okay, mate, I'll just do an 18-hour day. No, you need to put in better systems, basically. Otherwise, you're going to work yourself to death and you're not going to enjoy what it is that you do. You've got to have some kind of work-life balance. And real estate is a hard industry to get that in. You will have to work at the weekends and stuff like that. But don't try and kill yourself. Don't try and knock on 1,000 doors a day. It's not going to happen. You're just going to fall down at the end of the day. So that would be say, the systems is the way forwards for sure.
I love it. So we'll stamp that one as a bullshit statement for the day. I think we've debunked it. I love it. And if you guys want to connect with Guy or learn more about My Real Estate Advisor, his details are on screen and in the show notes below. So as I always say, it costs nothing to have a conversation or a quick meeting just to find out your options. And I'm happy to also announce that Guy and I are doing a partnership for our Abodey Pro members. So if you're a pro member of Abodey Pro with our property reports, you'll start to see My Real Estate Advisor as an option inside your web app. So if you have more questions, reach out to Guy or myself on that front. But Guy, thank you again for being here today, and thank you everyone for tuning in.
No worries. Thanks again, Joe. Appreciate it.
Of course, we'll catch you next time on the No BS Podcast Pro Edition. See you, everyone. That's a wrap for this episode of the No BS Real Estate Podcast, powered by Abodey AI. If you found this conversation helpful, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who might need it. If you're looking for more guidance on your home buying journey, you can visit www.abodey.com.au for expert advice, property insights, and the tools you need to find the right home with confidence. If you're already on your journey, you can also download our app. Just search Abodey AI on the App Store or Google Play. Have any questions or want to connect, you can follow us on Instagram at abodey.com.au or send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.